Okay, hi. I don't really feel like I need to introduce myself because I feel like the only people that are going to watch this are 4 people that will be related to me. So I'll probably just skip that bit. Or I mean, if you are if you're a person that's not related to me, then my name is Rebecca and I live in Scotland. Sorry, I'm really nervous. I have no idea why, because this is literally me sitting in my bedroom talking to my wee sister. So that's just what I need to think about and not, I don't know why I'm being weird. Right. Okay, so I used my lockdown, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm interviewing, I feel like I'm actually sitting here, like, tell us how you spent your lockdown. Nobody cares. Nobody asked for this video, which is true, nobody actually asked for it, but it's fine. Nobody is asking you to watch it. Other than me, obviously, and it will be more like begging instead of asking. Okay, so obviously, like most of the world, Scotland has been in lockdown or variations on lockdown for the past 7 months, since the 21st of March, and I did spend the majority of that eating and procrastinating, but then, you know, it gets to the point where there's only so many ways that you can actually procrastinate. There are literally only so many things that you can do to avoid doing actual productive things. So one thing that I did, which, I mean, I want to say it's productive because it was productive to keeping me from going insane, but realistically it didn't really it wasn't anything spectacular, it wasn't anything special. But I spent a lot of lockdown going on trips all over Scotland and going to do things around Scotland that were in large part unmitigated disasters. I don't want to use the term shit show, but a lot of the time it didn't necessarily go to plan. Yeah, and I had this idea. So basically a lot of the time what was happening was we were going to certain places around Scotland and we were following instructions that were like written down, so like typed out instructions that we'd find on some random webpage of somebody else that had done it. And thank God, because, you know, these people had painstakingly taken the time to really note down the ins and outs of wherever we were going and whatever we were doing. But because, I don't know if this is just because me and my friends are not the brightest tools in the shed or whatever, I don't want to say that about them, but maybe it's just my fault. But quite more often than not, things would go wrong because we were trying to read these things and we were reading them so specifically, and then it would say like cross a bridge, and we'd get there and there'd be 2 bridges. Like, there was a real Sophie's choice a lot of the time and we never made the right one. So on one of our last escapades, 7 months into lockdown, I realised that maybe it would be beneficial if someone had catalogued it. Like, see if I was actually just watching a video. Do you know what? This probably exists. This is probably all a moot point, but what the heck? What the hell? What was this? Right, yeah, so I realised it might be better if somebody had actually filmed what you were to do. Like, one of our last ones we went on, the person had said, park in this specific car park and then take this long walk and then you start on the actual trail. When we got to the start of the trail, there was another car park, so we could have saved ourselves like at least 1.5 miles of, you know, whinges. Because all we did was whinge the entire time that we had to keep walking uphill when we could have just parked at the top effectively. And then when you're on the trail, you don't actually know what the heck you're doing, because there's not as if when you're out in the wilderness there's signage for what you're actually looking for a lot of the time. Or there might be like some sort of big board to tell you information about where you are, but you're looking for a really specific bridge for that perfect Instagram photo, because let's be honest, that is what it's all about. The bit you driving 2.5 miles, walking an extra hour, getting to some random spot, taking a picture, taking 45 pictures, and then fucking off again. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it and make it seem like we're cool, because that's realistically what we were doing a lot of the time. No, I'm joking. Honestly, if lockdown has taught me anything, is that as much as I loved Scotland before, now I have way more love and appreciation for it. Because we got to do some really cool things that I might not have been able to do had I been in lockdown somewhere else. Anyway, so this is me digressing for far too long, and most of this will get cut, and I'm being told to get to the point. Right, so the point is, I had this idea really, literally 7 months into lockdown. If I'd had it earlier on, maybe I'd have been able to catalogue the majority of the stuff I'd done, but I didn't do that. But one of the things that we did was this thing called the Elie Chain Walk, which is located in Elie, in Leven. And honestly, I really hope that when I'm done with this little intro bit, I'm going to watch, hopefully, dear God, someone has made YouTube for dummies and I can just watch how to make all the wee cool, like, cartoony things come in and the cool sounds, and I can insert, like, maps about where I went and all that. If not, then, you know, no one, this video will never see the light of day. But anyway, right, so we did this thing called the Chain Walk, which effectively was it was death waiting to happen. Like, I'm really surprised to this day that all three of the people, well, there was 2 people with me, so all 3 of us survived it. I mean, barely. We did have a lot of intentions of phoning the Coast Guard at certain points, and you know, I can't go on and tell my family I love them. Like, we had all those moments during it, but you know, we got in the other end. And throughout this, I did take some videos. So what I was thinking was, I'll show you the videos. I'll put in maps of where we parked and how they locate the journey from the car to the actual chain walk, because as I say, a lot of the time the things that we were going to do in Scotland, that was the biggest part, was actually finding what we wanted. It wasn't the activity itself. Whilst the chain walk might be a bit different because the activity itself was the single most dangerous and terrifying thing I've ever done in my life, but out with that there was still the walk of getting from where we parked the car to the chain walk, which was winding and all over the joint, and if somebody had filmed it we might have found it much easier, because we found the walk on the way back a lot easier than the walk there. So I'll put in a map of where we actually parked the car and the journey from the car to the chain walk. We took pictures at the beginning of the chain walk. I took pictures all throughout, and I took some videos between. I don't want this to be a deterrent, because we didn't do a lot of research. We did it at the complete wrong time of year. We did read instructions that did warn us this beforehand, but you know, rebels and all that, or realistically we were just really stupid. So yeah, so I will put in all the videos and footage and stuff of what we did, and hopefully this helps somebody else that wants to do it in a bit more smart manner than what we did it in. And hopefully if this video, if I can watch YouTube for dummies, if I can somehow collate all of the, is collate the right word? Merge all of the information I can find on how to do this, I can make a slick looking YouTube video, and then I can maybe actually film the next one properly, the next thing that I go and do, and not just talk about it and bore you all to death with the sound of my monotonous thick accent. I'm also going to need to cut out any of the neighbours that might have walked past my window in the process of this being filmed. And so as you can see, that's Elie on the right. Obviously I've circled it, but it does actually say it. And then the left dot is Earlsferry, and either way you can search any of them into your browser, like your Google, your Maps app of choice. But it's the high street that you're looking for. So Earlsferry High Street is that street that's kind of linking the two of them. I think it's called the A719 as well. As you can see, this little street that I've circled is called Ferry Road, and that is off of the high street. This is where we parked our car, and the road kind of is like a dead end road. So we parked outside like an auto mechanic place, and then you have to walk up to the end of it, and you're right onto a green path, and the green path is like right adjacent, what's the word, not adjacent and not perpendicular, the other one. Standard grade maths, come back to me. Parallel. It's parallel to the golf course on the right. So we parked our car, and then literally there's only one way you can go that's not back to the high street, and that was right up straight out onto the coast effectively. It starts on a grassy bit. There's like a bench to sit on. You'll see water, and then you'll come to the golf course if you just keep walking on your right. Oops, I gave you a wee spoiler by telling you that big green green mass on the right was a golf course, but there you go, there's the proof in the pudding that it is the golf course. Earlsferry Links golf course to be precise. So that is on your right when you're just passing this kind of grassy bit. And as I say, you can see the water out in front of you. You have to walk basically right in between the water and the golf course. The golf course sits right on the beach. Once you get around a bit further, as you'll see this curves, you are onto, as I say, what is basically effectively a beach. You walk right along this beach. You are not on the Fife Coastal Path at this point, I don't think, because I think we walked the Fife Coastal Path on the way back, which I'll talk about in a minute. So you're walking right along the beach and you just have to keep walking. Honestly, there was no signs. We had our trusty guide that somebody had written out for us that we followed, but it did seem at points like we were never going to actually make it to what we were looking for. But yeah, eventually we got to the chain walk. So you basically just keep walking along this beach and then you will come to like an amalgamation of rocks, and it'll become clear that that is the chain walk. So this is the first thing that you're greeted with when you arrive, and we basically read this and decided to proceed anyway without great care. We acknowledged that the tide wasn't incoming, the tide had income and was really high, and that we did not have secure hand and foot grip, and it was particularly wet. So this is us at the beginning. Look how happy and carefree we were. Oh, so bloody naive. You'll also notice that in almost every picture my tongue is in the same position because I had a massive pimple on my chin. And of course, throughout the drama of the day, that was my top priority, was covering that and not dying or anything. So we have all just done the chain walk. This is it. I know it doesn't look scary, but like for me it was very scary. It wasn't that scary. Well, not when Ruth just went in the fucking water instead of using the chain. But they say do something every day that scares you. That scared the crap out of me. I almost, gave up, but we didn't give up. We did something that terrified us all. And now look at this view. I don't know, you can't see, but look at that. We do have this chain to conquer next. Where is this chain? That one. Over there. So wish us luck. So that high quality clip you just watched was actually filmed here. This chain is on this side, number 1, and chain number 2 that I really failed to point out well is on this side of the rock. Okay, we're now halfway. We're about four breakdowns in, 4 chains in. We've all been in the water at least once. Tears have been shed, blood has been shed, some more than others, but we've all done it so far. I mean, that's not to say the next 4 aren't going to be the worst 4 and we might not do them, but the 4 that we have done have been pretty shocking. The tide is way too far in for us to be doing this. We have come across 3 bays which were actually just underwater, and yet we're living to tell the tale. Well, halfway anyway. And there's the other 2, they're still alive too, proof. Still doing it, still going strong. Plus, again, look at this view. It's nice. It'll be bloody dark by the time we actually finish, right enough, but still. And then this looks like our next chain. Great, just got about 17 miles until we get there. So this is a wee picture of me just climbing up one of the last chains. I believe that this was chain number 6. And it's just to give you an idea of the kind of variations on chains you're going to see. As you saw from the video, the first chain is kind of you're facing the wall but you're moving sideways, whereas that one's obviously just straight up. So they do vary in difficulty. This is a photo of between chains 7 and 8. You will come across some caves. And this is a picture of me showing you the cave. And once again, there is that tongue that I warned you all about. Got to cover up that spot, priorities. This is my favourite photo of the whole day. It is Ruth looking cute AF. Just proves that she's the most photogenic person I've ever met, considering she was just post falling and she really hurt herself on the chain before it. And that was her on the last chain and she still did it, and look at that smile on her face. So there you go, there's the proof that you'll have fun no matter what. This is a photograph of us at the very end. We're actually on the Fife Coastal Path, so now you've seen it as a dot on a map, and there it is in the flesh. Very coastal. Actually what happened here is we were obviously looking very sad and trying to take pictures of the other 2 one at a time, and yeah, just really looking worse for wear because of the trauma we had just experienced. And this nice unsuspecting man just walked past and took pity on us and asked if we wanted our photo taken. and he was so nice. And I think he could definitely tell that, you know, we'd just been through something. But he took about 25 photos, and this is the best one out of the lot. So yeah, I mean, we're still standing. In the words of Elton John, we're still standing, and we did it. So it wasn't all bad. I mean, look at that beautiful view behind us. I probably could have gone my whole life without seeing it, but I've seen it, and I can say that I've seen it. I really honestly feel this doesn't do it justice, because it certainly felt a hell of a lot longer than the space between where it says start and end. But yeah, that's the start, that's the end. You're not really looking at the sights when you're doing it, to be honest with you. You're too busy focusing on clinging on for dear life and trying not to fall into what would effectively be your last moments. So then when you come to the end, you have to climb up. So you get back up off of the chain walk, and you're up onto another big massive grassy area, and then there's steps and a sign indicating the Fife Coastal Walk, which is directly overlooking the beach that we walked to get there. So once you are on that, you'll kind of notice, you'll know exactly where you are. And then when you get to the end of the coastal walk, you're back at the golf course, which at that point you will remember and be so happy to see. You'll be crying tears of joy, pure unfiltered tears of joy will be streaming down all of your faces. And then you'll get to the car and you'll drive home. And on the way home, you'll try and stop for a Subway. And the two Subways that you try will both be closed. Well, one won't actually exist. And then the last Subway you get to, they won't have anything left apart from like one kind of bread. And that'll make you cry even more. I really do hope that your time doing this endeavour is more successful than ours. Yep. Surprise! I bet you thought you'd all seen the last of me. No, I'm just here to say goodbye and to say that I hope that this was somewhat informative or helpful, at the very least some subpar entertainment. I also want, if you guys do give the Elie Chain Walk a bash at any point, please let me know how it goes. Hopefully more positive than ours. And thank you for sticking through this colossal train wreck with me. Goodbye.